Okay, this project that I've been doing on this video series here has gone from, I guess I'll just call it an idea in my head to now that I've made this project, I've come up with some changes I want to make. So I'm making a virtual model of it, and that way I can show you what I've got in mind here. So the first thing you noticed, or I noticed when I made this and set it on my counter and went to grab my phone, it's like you want to grab it, your natural thing is you want to grab it like this or like this, but you're grabbing the holder at the same time. So that's one thing I want to change, and that's what you can see that I've done here, is I've scalloped these edges to give you that relief, so that when you do go to grab your phone, you're not going to grab the back. The one thing I am keeping the same is I'm going to keep the legs the same. The mounting part is going to remain the same. The other thing a couple changes I'm making are, I'm going to make it look a bit lighter, a little bit sexier, I guess, this way too, is I'm going to relieve this back by going from the midpoint here down to almost near the bottom, about 1/8 inch from the part where these join together, that intersection line there. Just run it and taper that back piece, and do the same to the bottom as well. So from the midpoint to about 1/8 inch short of that intersection line there as well, taper that piece back as well. So these end up being almost in line. It's not critical that they have to. It's not something that it's that heavy, but I'm going to do that there. Then I'm also going to, as you can see on the bottom here, put a little scallop or a rounded part into the bottom piece as well. So that's going to be, make it look a little lighter, a little nicer, a little more attractive to the eye, rather than this thing here, which is, it's just blocky. That's all there is to it. Functional, but blocky. So from going from this and now coming up to the computer and generating this computer model, it's given me the idea or the ability to look at this before I make it. Now, the one other thing you could do is maybe put a little scallop in this edge, but I don't think that that's necessary. I think that kind of would take away from the look a little bit, actually. So there you have it. That's what I intend to do differently with my next piece here, and I wanted to show you what I had in mind for changes. So let's get to it. All right, I got everything set up here. The one change I did make, or something I am going to do different, is I'm going to make 2 of these as long as I'm doing it. So I made pieces that are extra long. This one is twice the length plus, a little bit for the base. And then I've got the one mounted in my jig here is twice as long plus some for the backs. So I've got things set up, and if you remember right, I want the back piece to have the 2 full pins on the outside here. So I've got her moved over 1/2 inch, and I'm ready to go. I'll make this series of cuts, flip it over and do the other side, and then I'll mount this one and make the mirror cuts. So let's see how this turns out here. that looks good. So I'm just gonna keep repeating the process. I'll flip this over. The one thing I forgot to mention is I did put X's on the side that's going up against my stop here. So I'm gonna cut these, reset my blade for the longer piece on the bottom. You know, this thickness plus the thickness of my phone, and then we'll come back and see how they fit. All right, I just had a little mini heart attack here. I thought that my piece was too short because my cutoff lines, which I used my phone as my guide, overlap by about 1/8. What I have forgotten is that I'm going to gain about 1/4 of an inch right here when I chop these down. So I'll just split this line when I cut it, and I'll be fine. Alright, I've just finished laying out this piece. I've decided on an 1 3/4 size bit here, and there's my center point. That gives me 3/4 of an inch on either side, but the one thing I have to remember is that this is the bottom. So when I drill through, I don't want any blowout on this side. This is the show side basically, and when I taper it, it's going to be tapered this way. Oh, I take that back. Yeah, I'll be okay. If I do get a little blowout, I'll be able to taper that off. Yeah. Never mind. I'm fine. Alright. I did some initial shaping here, and I've made a mistake. This should have been done last. I should have cut my taper first, so I'm going to have a heck of a time trying to follow a line there from this point to here. So I'm going to have to figure something out, some kind of a taper jig or something to hold that. Alright, here's one way to solve this. So I had taken my straight edge here and laid out the 2 marks from midpoint to end point, but that doesn't follow that curve, and you can't draw. Well, you can, but you don't want to draw a line like this following that straight edge. You'll never keep it straight. So if you got a flexible ruler like this one, you can do it, or simply take a piece of cardboard from an old cereal box that I finished off today and just line that up with your marks. Like so. And now draw your line. So there's my cut line to follow. Well, the heck with sanding. This is a lot easier and a lot better results. I'm just hitting it with my plane here, paying attention to make sure that this thickness is the same all the way across. And then I've got my line back here. And the other thing I have to be careful of is that as I come down this, I don't want to be hitting my my clamp there. Those two are not going to mix. And it looks like I've got plenty of clearance there, so I'll just try it this way for a while. That looks pretty good. I got a little ways to go if I want to get to 3/8. I don't necessarily have to get there, but I'm going to take it till I'm going to take a few more strokes. I'm going to keep working my way back to this line and just see where I end up out there. And then I can sand it flush or sand it to a finished grit here. Got my layout marks here for both pieces, and you can see I'm not going to mess around this time. I'm going to be a ½ inch out, and I've got my angle set here at 90 degrees to the face. So I'll make my cut with my flush trim saw like I did on the other one. This time I'm going to be a little bit more careful with the way I pare back, not being so aggressive because of the marks. You can see the marks I put on this one with my chisel, and so I want to eliminate that. So I have a It should work. Now I just need to be a little more careful when I pare these back. Well, that worked out pretty nicely. I'm very happy with the way these cleaned up. So the rest is just cosmetic. Sanding some edges, rounding some corners, that type of thing. Let me do the other one, sand them up, and I'll show you both what they look like, what both of them look like before I put some finish on them. Alright, finished product. There they are. I like them. Here's the bottom. It's a nice finish. They sit really flush and they work fantastic. So a little oil on them, shellac, whatever kind of finish you want to use, I'll just show you this one here. Height is perfect. That cherry's going to look nice when I get some finish on it. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.